Did you know 700 plus FICO credit scores all across the board, all three consumer credit bureaus, can get you a business funding service with 0% interest for 6 to 18 months and up to 150, if not up to 250,000 for a startup and a non-startup. True no doc financing program, no cash flow requirements, no personal and business tax returns, none of that. Free money you can use introductory for 6 to 18 months. Just imagine that, getting that free money you can put into your business, whether it's for expenses, for growing and expanding your business, scaling it, payroll. You have a certain percentage of money allocated for each activity, expenses, certain income requirements, things you need to meet, suppliers, vendors. You can go on in any industry, business, and real estate financing related as well, especially for those of you who are in real estate who can't use that whole swipe feature when you're using your credit card as a transaction to purchase property, or for other reasons. You can liquidate the cash out of these cards and use them for any investments you choose, and there's a step-by-step process behind that. But this is in the form of business credit cards that I'll be getting into here in a second. But I'll also be going into up to $26,000 per employee in a refundable payroll tax credit and more. And before that, my name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business loan broker expert, or otherwise business funding expert, that works with all services. Just in case you were wondering, what do I do? I'll get into that in a second, but I do all of the options from like SBA, which are like the cream of the top. If we reverse engineered, we look at the bank term loans, lines of credit. There are business credit cards you can associate with some of these. Underneath that, then you have collateral, revenue based. Underneath that, you have personal based. And then underneath that is the whole startup solution, where we're working on differentiating your personal and business. And you're setting up your whole incorporation, your business structure. And the three things that I always go into, and keep this at the top of your mind. You guys are not hearing this enough from somebody on YouTube. Here, come get a business loan up to 250,000. But because they got 1 million views, they have to be doing something right. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not. I'm not saying they're not discredited. I'm just saying be careful who you follow. All the information on blogs, I create blog content. But at the same time, a lot of this stuff you cannot find it online. And I'll show you a lot of this stuff with the underwriting guidelines. And that's why you guys need an expert, a consultant / expert, an actual business owner who runs multiple businesses, which I do as well. Digital marketing agency, lead generation, affiliate marketing in the health space, a few others, and other ventures. And then this is my primary focus as a business funding expert. I've been in it long enough, just so you know, and I can review documentation. I know how to handle. I'm just not saying, here, go here, and then I don't do anything. No, I actually know how to review things on the back end. I get them up front as well. And I can look at bank statements. I know how to do year-to-date financials, profit and loss. I do this for my own businesses. Balance sheets, debt schedule, tax returns personally and in business. These are all things that I know. Net operating income, cash flow requirements. Every service is different. But with this one that I'm going to focus on here in less than 10 seconds, it's this called credit line hybrid, where we can add multiple business credit cards. And I've been where you are. I was once a employee under the 9-to-5 rut and trying to find his own way. I went to school academically. I was in sociology, a Division I soccer player. Then I went into chemical engineering. I had a passion for the math, the systems, the processes, the automation behind a lot of this stuff that they don't even just teach you at school. And then my favorite class being chemistry. Then getting into chemical engineering, seeing the market then shift, and I wanted to go into business administration. When I was working after that, financial logistics, I worked construction, manufacturing in a few positions, not in the field mostly. I worked in the machines too, in manufacturing. And then later on, I got into financial logistics, was not being able to move up, not getting paid what I was worth, and very, very much so. And people wouldn't retire. And just a lot of things happened. Company went down under. I had to go back on unemployment benefits, food stamp cards. I felt very, very embarrassed, and I'm an introvert. Younger 20s, by the way, academically. Everything doesn't always turn out the way you think. And I had to go through these to experience a few things at that time. So that's okay. Now, that's past 10 seconds. I know you were counting. So let me get into this 0% interest for 6 to 18 months. This is where you can add multiple business credit cards. We're doing a credit card stacking. And 700 plus FICO credit scores on all three consumer credit bureaus is ideally what we want. And that's really the starting point. If you have something where like it's 680 or 670 and above on all three consumer credit bureaus, then we could potentially do a payday loan option. If it's something where you just have high balances and we need to get you to a 700 and above, and it's nothing like late payments, if you haven't had a late payment in the last year, last 2 years, because if you have had, and if you haven't had that removed, those are issues. And even if you're going through credit repair to remove any kind of derogatory remarks, you have any charge-offs, bankruptcies, anything else that is outstanding that we don't want to have on a credit report, this can deny somebody's application for going through. And I work with the best lenders and organization. I actually had to cut this video short earlier because I had a lender who was sending me an email and just touching upon a certain client that there's certain notes that he wanted to add for my profile in terms of me then communicating it with the client. So this is a multiple business credit card stacking program where we can do it on your behalf. We can file the application on your behalf, or we can show you as well on what you would have to input for what certain business credit cards from what banks. And we normally like to go towards the bigger banks first to get you the highest credit limits. That's how it works too. And then we'll say, hey, we can go to a Chase. We'll work with Chase and we'll try to do 10 to 20,000 first for the first round. And then second, while that's happening, we can add a Bank of America card for maybe 20 to 50,000 or whatever the amount is. And then the next one, then we can add a US bank, maybe somewhere around the same with Chase, 10 to 20,000. Then we have a Truist, and then maybe we have a PNC bank. So we can add 3 to 4, 5 at once. And I know they're hard inquiries, but they're not attached to any open accounts. So then we can remove them and then redo the process all over again, if that makes sense. So it is very helpful for those of you who have stronger credit, who are looking to build your business credit profile. Yes, you can get in with little than 700 on all three. Sure, you can get business credit cards with less than that, especially if you've already been building that over time, but you don't have an optimized credit profile. The approvals are going to be a lot less, especially if you're looking at it from a lower credit, like a fair credit that's on the lower 600s or so. Then you're going to be getting those lower, like Capital One cards. And the limits, they vary. Yes, they're very minimal in most cases that you see. And so getting those limits to increase and to affect your credit, it's going to take an instrumental amount of time. And the amount of payments you're making towards what you need to purchase, it's not going to be sufficient. It won't even allow you to have enough limits. You're going to be exceeding things. And that's okay because it's on the business side. But these are the issues that you have when you're just focused on your personal, and now you're over exceeding your limits. You have high credit utilization. You have more than 4 to 6 inquiries per bureau in the last 6 months. And ideally with this type of funding service with the 700 and above, you don't want to have more than 4 to 6 per credit bureau in the last 6 months. You want to have at least a card with at least a $5,000 limit, a primary card. And there's a few things that take to qualify that I won't go too much into in this video. I'll leave more information to it down below in the description as well as in the bio. I've made content on this walking you guys through the exact qualifications, how it works, what we would be needing in the collection of documentation. But the cool thing about this program, like I said, is you can take that money and you can use it for any other investments, which is pretty cool. Free, 0% interest for 6 to 18 months, but you still have to know how to use this money. Make sure it is used as good debt as opposed to bad debt. A lot of people who just take the money and don't use it correctly, then they complain later on. And you're in business, you're a business owner, you're an entrepreneur. It's probably a lack of clarity or visualization, and also your finances as well can be a problem. Well, that's another route. I don't want to go too far into that right now, so let's steer away from it and let's focus on some of the other things. So credit-based, this is what that service is. There are more. So if you don't have a 700 and above, we can look at something with a 670 above on all three consumer credit bureaus, and that can qualify you for personal funding, like a term loan. Maybe not a line of credit because you have to have 700 and above usually on those, and it takes more. And we're not saying we're going to go to a credit union per se, because credit unions, yeah, they have the lowest restrictions and guidelines. I had a lady the other day say, well, you're approving me for this, but I can go get one at a credit. Yeah, because they have different guidelines and restrictions. And you're coming to me because I know how all this other stuff works as well, on top of credit unions and banks. And so the thing is, you can qualify for personal funding with lower credit, and we have a fast track program. If you need to pay down those high balances, we can use something temporarily. And there's another one too where you can get in with the 680 experience. 700 is usually it, But if you have a 680 and your credit looks clean, and it's not just the score itself, the 680 though is usually the entrance point. Sometimes you see 650, 660, but it's not normally for what you're trying to do and maximizing your approval. But we can do personal funding. There's creative credit-based financing, as I'm mentioning right now, with the 0% interest. And again, if you want to learn the qualifications to it and the requirements and all of it that it details, I can only cover so much right now as I'm going through a few other things, and I'll close up. I'll leave that information in the bio and in the description. But creative credit-based financing, I'm doing that a lot right now. I actually got an email right now from one of my providers. Okay, I just needed clarity for a specific client that I'm helping, and I got the email that I needed. So we can do creative credit-based financing. It depends on your situation, what your use of funds are for, what kind of income are you generating, do you have the documentation that needs to be supplied. And this is now going into a different direction aside from the 0% interest business financing. Then we can look at these personal tax returns for a term loan. We can do creative credit-based financing, We could do unsecured business. We can do unsecured personal, meaning no collateral on both sides. There are collateralized solutions, but it normally doesn't end up working, or doesn't best suit you, or it's going to require high commercial real estate and other type of property and assets. That is a completely different program at that point. But these are just some of the things. People can't get an SBA loan. Like right now, I'm working on a client with their situation. I've been speaking with them for quite some time now, and we couldn't get him an SBA loan, or it wouldn't work because he's trying to acquire a business, and he has to do it the creative credit-based financing because of the tax returns for that business he's trying to acquire. It's usually not SBA related, or it's not SBA applicable or approvable. And there was another one that we looked at too, where the profitability and a few things, it just wasn't there. And so what he's trying to do is find a solution. So I paired him up with the best through creative credit-based financing, myself and my team, and reviewing documentation he sent to me and my team. We reviewed it. We're on the next part of it already. This is what I do normally every single day, but there are other services. And so this is just one of many, but creative credit-based financing. I said the three: cash flow, credit, collateral. We're focused on credit right now. And so we can combine it with the personal term loan, line of credit, term loan / installment loan, really what they're called. But then you have the personal and or business credit cards. And we can add as much as possible. So if I'm looking at one of my clients' files here for theirs, I'm seeing that, okay. I'm seeing how much we can boost them in terms of business funding and unsecured business financing, as well as unsecured personal financing. And I can see the amount here that we're working with. Okay, I just wanted to make sure we all have that there. Now this is confidential information, of course, because this is for a specific client and I have a lot of other files, but I'm going to have to seek a little bit more information from my specific provider on that. But this is just a little bit, guys, on the credit-based side. Then I'm going to go to the comment section. Just know that there's credit-based, there's collateral-based, there's cash flow-based. I'm usually running through these scenarios every single day. Business credit underneath it, trade credit. You also have installment there, and then revolving, and then there's a few more things. But there's a few things to each and every one of these. Does anybody have any questions? And credit repair, I know I didn't mention that, but that's something if you guys need help with, I'll leave more information in the description and in the bio. I have a lot of people who are getting their credit repaired right now, and it's fast and effectively done. And the costs of it actually are low. I'm not going to get into the cost right now because I won't speak about the features and benefits at this moment. But some of the best disputing processes that are available right now in the market are very effective, and what happens there gets done. And it depends on the level of credit that you have right now and what we need to get you to, how much time it can take with late payments, anything else, trade lines. But I can go on and on about that topic. So I'll leave it open for about 30 more seconds, and I'll probably have the replay on YouTube in case you guys want to watch it. Okay, so this is what I was alluding to. This is what I was asking one of my providers, and I already had this information. So we kind of gave them here, I'm looking at pre-qualification from one of my clients. And there's just a quick breakdown there. But we go over this and we go, if your business is over a certain amount of time in business, 2 years for this one, then you can pre-qualify for a certain amount. If your business is less than 2 years old, then you would pre-qualify for boom, boom, and then this part. So what I want to see here, and I'll leave this open for a little bit. Okay. So they have a good amount that they are qualifying for. I do see what is limiting them, though. I won't talk about that for this specific client, but this is something that I had already previous knowledge on. It just showed up here. Okay. So again, I'm looking at if their business was 2 years, over 2 years, and there's a few things too. Then on the business and personal side, and I'll give you guys an example, and that's not theirs. This is a big amount that we can get them. And over here, if, for example, if you were able to say yes to all three of these, like is your corporation slash LLC or EIN more than 2 years old, your business, are you listed on the original incorporation or EIN filing? And this is stuff that we can gather from the EIN letter, etc., the articles of incorporation, states, certification, proving all this. 3, have you lived, at your current home address for over 2 years? Then if you said yes to all of this, then on the business and personal side, like for a first round, for what we see a lot of the times on average, we can try to do business and personal with $140,000 to $180,000. Just imagine that. First of all, you have a no doc program, and then another one you could have a doc program, but it benefits you because you're using your credit. That's ultimately what you guys should be laying on for everything, not just getting loans or getting another loan, especially if they're medium to high rates. Like, this is a way to counteract that by having better personal and business credit, by not getting disapproved for those bank term loans or those other options. Even if they're going to give you a lot more, you can build your business and personal credit profile like myself and many others have done, not just personally, but in business. And then here's an example, business plus personal, $140,000 to $180,000. That's just a hypothetical scenario. We haven't even done a soft pool. This is just like a common thing that we'll see. But after we look at more information from a specific client, we'll know. Business credit only. Let's say we took away the personal side. You may only get $70,000 to $90,000 in terms of unsecured business financing. Now, if you can't say yes to one or more of the above 3 questions that I just went through, but you can get business and personal from $80,000 to $120,000 in most cases. Business credit only, $50,000 to $70,000. So if you're a business owner who goes, well, I need to buy a business, well, it's not going to be enough, or it'll be enough, or I'll say, okay, I'm going to get approved for $100,000, but I really wanted $150,000. We're giving you a chance to get an approval for that, and spreading out the terms tremendously help you out. Tremendously, specifically on the personal side. So I think that's where I want to end it. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? While that's happening, I'll send a quick email here. Okay. Let me see if I missed anything. Let me scroll up here and then we'll get going. It's okay. I'm an introvert too, so I don't always comment. And I know I don't expect there to be comments. You guys are listening very well. I can only suspect and assume that. Or you guys are busy doing something else. It's okay. I know this isn't the most attractive type of content on like what I did earlier. If you guys went to my YouTube channel or haven't gone yet, I just did a live on there for about an hour's worth. And I went into the business loan application of a specific one. And then I had other services that I detailed in that. So if you guys want to view that live video, it is now up. I'm going to have to go in there and do a few modifications and just check it out. You'll be able to, I'll walk you through, I'll even show you parts of the application process if this application makes sense. And if that doesn't, or if it does, there's a combination of, or we do another one, and I'll show you everything you need to. That stuff you guys don't really get to see on the web. I've tried to look for this on other people's content on YouTube or in blogs. I go, man, people are really missing the mark on this. It's because they're not an expert at this. Like, I know all the levels of business credit, personal credit. I have the personal funding, of course, business funding. You have collateralized, non-collateralized side. You have revenue-based financing. You have the collateral up here on this side. You have the SBA financing and a few other things. But when I look at a lot of people's content, I'm not discrediting people. I'm not saying they're not right. It's just, that's somebody I don't want to I'm never going to give my business to that person. Like, yeah, they're very nice and all, but they don't really know their stuff. Or it's questionable. Let me ask more. And it's evident when they don't, or they have to ask somebody for those answers all the time, where I don't. If I ever do, it's because I go to see if the market's changed or if we haven't had a meeting yet with the lenders and underwriters. But for me, each and every one of these services, like I told somebody yesterday about a gas station, I was very upfront with him. And I went into the character first more than anything. I told him, I know how this goes if you're trying to build a gas station. What I don't want you to do is work with somebody you're going to be wasting their energy and time on. You're just seeking information and never going to do anything with them or without them. Or, okay, I don't expect an outcome. Like, I detach myself from the outcome. I don't look at that at all. I'm all about value, but at a point I have to say, am I just giving them information, just an information, and will they even come back? Like, I don't want to just be that information guy, because I've had people who like work through the SBA, for the SBA, who even quit. People who worked for the SBA, let me say that again. These are people that also quit, or they said, I'm done, I'm going to go do my own thing. The people in the SBA, they go off do their own thing and they get into real estate. And there's other ventures, but you have to question why. And so, like, when I speak with my friends on this, they tell me the reason why, and this is probably why I would leave this industry too. It's not because of my expertise in my verticals and what I know and what I can do. It's not about the money at all. It's not about any of that. It's not about the amount of value and the impact that I'm giving and deriving from. It's the person. The person is the fundamental issue, if it is. Not everybody, but what I mean by it is there's character and reputation. A lot of people just, I'm telling you, they're very unpredictable. And so, like, he told me, he's like, I was working with the SBA for some time, but the reason why I left is because of people. And not that, I don't know how he was doing it, but he might not have been doing it the way that I do it in terms of the whole scope of a business. So maybe it was more ineffective the way he was doing it in how he was relating to people on a personal and business level, perhaps, or how he was saying things, what he was saying, and how he was delivering and what he wasn't saying. And so I can only speak on my behalf, and I correct those things and I do those parts correctly. But for him, it was like, yeah, people were always looking for something, but they would just have me as another like person on their list to come back to. I've had people on my Facebook where I'm very observant of, and I go, I'm just going to become another one on their list. And I may be their best solution. You'll never know until you know. I get that. But at the same time, they're going to be I know they're going to be that person doing this over and over again, and they're going to be doing that. And I know that's going to cause a lot of energy and time inefficiency for myself. They might not think it's for them, but it really is. And so the thing is, I see it and I go, the person is really the problem. And it comes back in fear. It comes with being hard-headed. It comes with being ignorant, stubborn, cocky. And if you don't have any of that or one of them, okay, none of it, great. But what idealistically we need to do is work on one another. And I mean in terms of our character, those aspirations, those beliefs, those values. That's what really needs to run through our blood, is how do we become a better person, so that way we can become a better person in our business. And so those are the little things that people don't see. And you may not see it, or you do, but you neglect that. And you still go out there and apply and apply. And why do you think you keep applying and applying? Yeah, you're misinformed. But your belief, and what's your belief rooted in? It's rooted in much more. It's rooted in your character. It's rooted in your subconscious. It's rooted in your programming. And so every day I see this with clients. All the time I see it. I want money. That business loan sounds good, until they really know what it takes to qualify for a specific thing. And other ones are very like, Michael, you've made my life very, very easy. Thank you. Somebody else would have complicated the living, and they have done it. But with me, it's like, you guys don't have to worry about any of that. Okay. I will get going. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in. All information in the bio and in the description. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll speak to you all in the next one. Take care. Bye.